So those are both great. It's actually a great segue to get into stages and pricing.
Yeah.
So many people struggle with that. I know I've spoken to a lot of people here. How did you set up the staging and pricing, and what is it today?
So starting with staging, when I got to Greenhouse, there was I had 3 really good sales reps that I inherited, and they were working off of very standard, basic sales steps as the sales stages. The problem with that is it doesn't necessarily align with the buyer's decision-making processes. So it became really important to define and figure out what the buyer's buying processes were, and then align that with the steps and stages. The other thing that was important about that is to have a strict exit criteria, so that in order to go from one stage to the next, there had to be specific exit criteria that took place, and that's generally from something that you found out from the buyer. If it's moving from closing to buying process, you had to have a verbal, right? And that's aligned. And what that does is it gives you a lot more consistency. You know that the accounts that are in different stages, at least from the view of the account executive, or hopefully from their director as well, have been through all the things that you are required for that exit.
That's great.
And then you asked the
pricing. Yeah.
Okay, and then pricing. When I first got to Greenhouse, and even up to recently, even up to about 4 months ago, we only had one real product, and everybody that bought that product had received the same services. So it was pretty easy to come up with a pricing model that would work for our customers and work for us. And that pricing model for us was based off the size of the company. So the larger the company got, the more that they had to spend, based off of employee size. As they grew, obviously it wasn't like if you went from 100 to 200, it was double. It was more like as they grew, it was less per employee. One thing I would say about pricing and where we've been really good at is in terms of discounting. We have a very strict policy of not discounting, except for 2 specific situations. One is based off of the length of the contract. Obviously, the longer you commit to, we'll discount you for that. And then the other thing was if they pay, how much more they pay upfront as opposed to over time. So a 3-year contract that is paid upfront, it's a better discount than a 3-year contract that's paid annually. The difference now is, though, we have 3 different products, we have a lot of different services, so it becomes a lot more complex in terms of figuring out the proper pricing, and we're still working through it.